Okay, welcome everyone to today's Welcome everyone to today's MyNet education session on PubMed. I'm Orvie Dingwall. I'm one of the MyNet librarians.
And I'm Gail Matheson. I'm also a MyNet librarian.
Amazing. So we're going to talk about PubMed today. All right, and Gail, you can just go ahead there. So we are joining you today from, Gail and I are both employees of the University of Manitoba, and we recognize that the U of M campuses are located on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Inanuak, and Inuak, Dakota, Oyote, and Dene people, and the homeland of the Red River Métis. And we just want to make sure that everyone also knows which treaties, treaty territory or unceded territories you are joining us from today. All right, so we're here today in a Zoom webinar. You can turn the closed captioning on or off. And if you have any questions or comments, you can use either just the chat box or also the Q&A box. Whichever you want to do is totally fine. And you can also, if you find something interesting, or you love something, or you're excited about something, or something makes you grumpy, definitely use the React features. They just help us know if we're hitting on anything that's of interest to you. And we see there's a hand. Oh, okay, great. All right, so the objectives for today, by the end of today's session, you'll be able to describe MyNet's core library services, create a search strategy, and execute it in PubMed, and just use some of the features that are available in PubMed, like creating alerts for your favorite topics, and creating resource lists, and that you will be able to know how to order full text articles through MyNet. So MyNet is Manitoba's Health Information Knowledge Network. It's a service provided by the University of Manitoba Health Sciences Library to staff at Manitoba Health, fee-for-service physicians throughout the province, and staff at participating regional health authorities. And the regional health authorities are almost everyone. It just currently excludes the city of Brandon. And your team is Gail and myself as your MyNet librarians. And we have 3 library technicians, Cheryl, Kathy, and Pam, who often are the first ones to answer emails or to send you those full text articles. So always give a great shout out to them. And if you don't yet have a MyNet library account, and you do work for an RHA or Manitoba Health, definitely sign up to have an account so that you're all set up for when you're ready. And you just need to, you can go to our website and download the borrower registration form and then email or fax it into us. Okay, and our 4 core services are literature searches. So if you see today's webinar and you're like, this is too much for me, I just need Gail and Orvie to do the search for me, we absolutely will do that. Or if you're playing around in PubMed, you know, much of the time you might find whatever you need on your own, but sometimes you might say like, it's not getting me the results I need, or I'm just not finding anything, then definitely get in touch with Gail and I, and we can do additional searches for you. When you come across full text articles that you want access to, and it doesn't matter how you found them, whether it was through Google or a friend mentioned them, or you found them in PubMed, then through MyNet, we'll provide you the full text articles. So don't ever think you have to pay for those articles or go without them. We do training and education sessions, just like the one today, but we're also happy to come and work with your team and make sure everyone on your team knows about how to use health information, critical appraisal, incorporate evidence into their work, or whatever you want us to do. We're happy to do that. And we also help you stay informed on your favorite topics, articles, journals, whatever it might be. So those are, in a nutshell, the core library services of MyNet. And now we're going to talk specifically about PubMed. So just to get us going, I'm going to launch a really quick poll, and we'd love for you to let us know if you've ever searched PubMed. Okay, that's almost everyone. I'll end the poll. Okay, so we've got some people who are, or a couple people who have never searched it before or don't remember searching it before, and a couple people who use it frequently. And if there are things for those who have some familiarity with PubMed or use it on a semi-regular basis, if you've got some things that you would like to share with the others about things that you use PubMed for, or things that you had to learn the hard way, we're happy to share those with the others and hear about them from you. Okay, so what is PubMed? And PubMed is free, which is amazing, free to anyone in the entire world. It's developed by the US National Library of Medicine, and it's the largest biomedical database in the entire world. So it has over 38 million citations and abstracts, with over 5,000 evidence-based peer-reviewed journals from 1940 until the present. And it is North American centered, but it does include core international journals, and it's the #1 place worldwide as the first starting place to search for evidence-based information. And so the subject coverage includes all things health and biomedical, from medicine, nursing, allied health, dentistry, veterinary medicine, the healthcare system, and preclinical sciences. So basically anything health, it's the best first stop. So when we mention about the U.S. National Library of Medicine, of course, I'm sure that then you're wondering, and Gail and I wonder too every single morning, with the changing political climate in the U.S., is PubMed still reliable? And so currently the answer is yes, it is still the single best source. And this is something that, as health librarians, that all librarians at the University of Manitoba and across the country, are watching really closely about to make sure the PubMed is okay. And so how it works to decide what is included into PubMed or not. There's a committee who oversees the National Library of Medicine, including PubMed, and they determine what journals are included in PubMed. Currently, it is unknown who is on those committees. It used to be an open list of physicians who populated those committees, and in the last 100 days, then there's still notice that the committees exist and what their schedules are, but unclear who exactly is on them. The February meeting they usually meet 3 times a year. The February meeting was canceled. The next meeting is upcoming in May. And we are preparing in case there is any kind of change. So if all of a sudden it's a bunch of non-evidence-based, non-peer-reviewed, or just not authoritative journals included in PubMed, but currently all is okay, at least as far as we can tell. And it is something that health librarians in our entire community worldwide are monitoring. So for now, PubMed's still the preeminent resource. So when you go to search it, the first thing, before you dive right into PubMed, Gail and I want you to just think about identifying what it actually is that you want to know about. And that starts with identifying your key concepts. And you can use tools like Pico or Spice. And I think should I share the poll now, Gail? Oh, okay, I'll just quickly tell you what these are, and then we'll go through them. So this is just creating a list of synonyms. So whatever your topic is, then thinking about what are other words to describe this concept. This is something that Google often does for you, whereas PubMed and any kind of advanced database, it makes you do that work on your own. And then you can combine all of those terms with Boolean operators. So we've just thrown at you a bunch of jargon, but that's why we're here today, is to learn about these things and go through them together. All right. And so taking the time to construct your research question at the outset really can help you stay focused, reduce distractions, and more quickly find the evidence that you need to answer the question that you have. All right, now I think I can launch my poll. Okay, poll number 2 is just asking, are you familiar with what a PICO strategy is? And it's totally fine to say no. Okay, so good thing we're talking about this. No one, this is everyone's introduction to PICO. Great. So PICO is an acronym that stands for Population, Intervention, Comparison, and Outcome. And there's a similar one called SPICE, Setting, Perspective, Intervention, Comparison, Evaluation. It doesn't matter which one you use. They're both sort of the same. If you have another favorite way to do it, that's fine too. But drawing out a little chart when you're thinking about your question or what you're looking for is really helpful. So we have one of our least favorite topics, but one that we tend to hear about a lot. Oh, and I just see in the chat, will we receive these slides? Yes, we'll definitely send out the slides for everyone. And we're also recording the session today, and we will post it on the website. Love the interactive gestures. Thanks for letting us know that you're there. So, are heat treatments more effective at eradicating bed bugs than cold treatments? So this is a question that outlines the population, the intervention, the comparison, and the outcome. So population, of course, is those who have bed bugs on their premises. The intervention is the heat treatment. The comparison is the cold treatment, and the outcome is eradication. So really nice and simple. Sometimes, excuse me, sometimes it can take, sometimes up to half an hour or maybe even longer to really finally articulate what exactly it is that you're thinking about and that you're trying to ask. And again, that's time super well spent. So we then, this is how Gail and I like to lay out our searches. And we start to say, okay, so population, now we're thinking about our synonyms. What's another word for bed bugs? It's the Latin term. And sometimes you'll have, you could have like 90 synonyms that you want to include. Sometimes you might just have 2, and that's totally fine. And then intervention, heat and dryer, and comparison. So you can just kind of see then how these all start to lay out with our synonyms and our concepts, and just keeps us super well organized. All right, I think Gail's going to take it over and show us how to take our PICO question that's perfectly formulated and search it in PubMed.
Okay, so once you have your research question kind of formed, you can head over to PubMed. So the way you can get there, you can either Google PubMed, or on our website, mynet.ca, we also have links there for you as well. And it will bring you right to this page. So you can just start with a quick search and just pop some terms in and click search, and it will give you results right away. So you can see here, we've just done bed bugs and heat, really simple. It's given us 48 results. We've used an example that doesn't have tons, but you may have thousands of results depending on which terms you've chosen. So in the search results screen, you're going to see your list of articles. It's going to have their titles. It's going to have the publication information, the year, and the abstract. You're going to see your search terms are highlighted here, so you can quickly skim through the results and see whether they're in the title maybe or where they are in the abstract, quickly read that particular sentence. If you have way too many results, you can use filters here on the left-hand side. So you could filter by date. 5 years is a good one. If you scroll down further, you'll be able to choose document type. So filter by systematic review, meta-analysis, guidelines, and try to narrow down some of those results. If you click in on the title of one of the articles, it will take you to the article page. And so it gives you a bit more information. You scroll down, read the abstract, and it will give you these links here as well. So a lot of content is freely available through PubMed, and it will link you out to the full text. If it doesn't, and you hit a paywall, this is where you can just send this citation information to us, the link, right to us at MyNet, and we will get you the full text for free. Don't pay anything through those paywalls. We will get it to you. And I'll show you a few other ways that you can share with us the citation information a little bit later. But that's the article information page. So if we just go back to our search, the terms that we're choosing really have an impact on the number of results. So we've done bed bugs here, but if we change to those Latin terms that we had used, that we had mapped out in our word map, we get a different number of results. So now we're getting 45. So the terminology that we choose when we're searching has a huge impact on the results that we're getting. And then also just wanted to mention spelling. So if you happen to get something like this where it has 0 results, we've spelt heat wrong. So it's not retrieving things. So if you're, just make sure that your spelling is correct as you go through your search string if something just isn't lining up right and it seems funny. Okay, so put a few quick search terms in, but how do we get that more complex search? So are you familiar with Boolean operators is our next poll question. And I'll just let Orvi do that. We'll give you a few minutes to answer some no's. Good. Okay. Okay, so then we'll just go through and talk about Boolean operators. So your Boolean operators are or, and, not. And this is how you're going to combine your different terms and really create those complex search strategies where you can really get targeted results with your search. So you're going to use or to combine your like terms, your synonyms, so that you're broadening out the search and making sure that you're including all the different terms for bed bugs and the Latin terms. And you're going to use to combine different terms. So we want both the concepts of heat and bed bugs. So we're going to combine it with and. So instead of getting as many results with just searching bed bugs, we're going to narrow our search down with fewer results. So we're only getting the ones that are related to bed bugs and heat. You can also use not, and that will exclude a term, but have to be really careful with not because it's very easy to exclude relevant material. I actually don't use not very often at all. Sometimes I'll use it if it looks like I'm getting a lot of results that have a term in it that I don't want. So I might experiment with to see if I can bring some more relevant things to the top. But if I'm making a comprehensive search string, it's not something I will use. Best practice would be to add another term in or to use some of the filters that we talked about that are on the left-hand side of PubMed there with date and a specific document type so that you're not excluding relevant material. So then just looking at the Boolean operators in relation to our word map and our search strategy. So you're going to use and between the different elements of your PICO question, and you're going to use or between the different terms within the the um, the different elements.
Gail,
A
sorry,
few other,
can you just
yeah,
go back one slide? I think,
sure.
and because many people are new to this concept about PICO, and another trick that Gail and I use too is sometimes there's just not a lot of evidence on one topic. So don't feel like you have to have search terms for all of these categories. You might just have enough searching bed bugs in PubMed, and you might just want to, instead of goofing around with your search strategy, you might just want to screen through and select the ones, because you know, with only 46 results or 48 results, it'll be faster and more effective to just quickly read through those title and abstracts than it is to try to create all these different synonyms. So on big topics, definitely add in all of your PICO concepts, but on small ones where there's a small evidence base, totally fine just to have one or two.
Yeah. So then just a few other things that you can use to help craft your search. You can use quotation marks to keep phrases together. So we're going to keep bed and bugs together to make sure it's searching them as one thing. You can also use truncation. So instead of typing out a number of different terms, for example, freeze, freezer, freezing, um, you can put the little star at the point where you're going to have those different endings, and it will look for all of the variations after FREEZ. And then you don't have to try and think of all the different variations that could exist. Sometimes it works really great, and then other times it doesn't work as well if it's a term that has a lot of variations to it. So it's again something that you might have to play around with, but it can be really, really useful. So then looking again at our search strategy and our word map, and now I've just added in putting together the search string with those different Boolean operators and the quotations and the truncation. So we're keeping bed bug together, and then, but you could have bed bugs with an S on the end, so we'll use a little bit of truncation there. And then we've got our Latin terminology, and we've got or between all the different ways to spell or think about bed bug. And then we've got an and between our concept of temperature here. So in this example, we've kept our intervention and our comparison together to simplify our search. So we've got heat or dryer or freeze with the truncation. You could throw in temperature. You could think of other terms that you could put in there that may be different synonyms as well, and just put an or between them. So then if we pop that back into PubMed, now we're getting 50 results with our search. So now you're seeing how our results are changing based on how we're constructing this search using all of these different techniques. Okay. Now another way that you can search, are you familiar with medical subject headings? I'll just ask you that. That's our next poll question. Okay. Good. So mixed results, some yeses, some nos. So medical subject headings, you can is controlled language that organizes information according to a specific subject. So in PubMed, if you go back to our main page, right here in the bottom right-hand corner is the mesh database. So you can click on that, and now you can search just the mesh subject headings. So it'll give you a search box. We're going to throw in bed bugs. There's only one result that comes up, so that's it right here. If there's multiple results, you may have a list of different subject headings that you can choose from. And then you can click in and get to the full information about them. But again, it gives you a little description of everything that will fall under that subject heading. And it gives you a hierarchy here as well. So you'll see bed bugs is on the bottom, but if maybe you wanted to use a broader term, sometimes there'll be narrower terms. It's a really great place to start helping you build out terminology. Now, because it's controlled language, sometimes when you're searching in Mesh, it may have 0 results. And I found it might be because I've put the wrong term in, the wrong synonym, and it's just not finding that particular term. So um, it's something that may take a little bit of time to play around with to find the right subject heading. So once you've found a subject heading that you want to use, you're going to go over here on the right-hand side and you're going to go add to search builder. And then it's going to pop in that the subject heading and how you would compose the search and for you. And then you're going to click search PubMed, and then it's going to search PubMed. And here you're seeing it has 929 results that are under the category of bed bugs. And then if you're in a article page, the mesh subject headings and the mesh terms are, if you scroll down, they're at the bottom here. So again, you can look and see what kind of terminology is being used. You can click on these and add them to another search if you want, and be able to find more information through that controlled language. So some pros of mesh subject headings is it's standardized. So if you don't have to think of all the terms. So as an example, cancer, tumors, malignancy all fall under neoplasms. And again, you'll see here that if you didn't realize that neoplasms was the term that you should be using in MESH, that search box will help you find that term. So cons, assigned using AI now, Orvi and I were just talking about this before we started, and she was saying that looking at some of the research, this is changing. So, and the AI tagging is getting better. So it used to be that it was mixing up mice as animal versus computer mice. So this tagging is getting better. So it may actually end up a pro in the end. But again, something to kind of watch is going forward. And then not all concepts have a subject heading assigned to them. So an example, return on investment doesn't have a subject heading.
Gail, what about instances if somebody finds in the medical subject heading a term that's outdated or that it's not appropriate to use? What should, or that, and I'm thinking about Indigenous categorizations, or maybe language that has just evolved. What happens if the mesh is a older or not used term anymore?
Right. So with library science, all of that controlled language isn't managed by libraries themselves. It's managed by, I don't know who manages the mesh subject headings, or V. It's
National
escaped.
Library of Medicine. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So they're the ones that manage it. There is problematic terminology in Library of Congress, in mesh, in all of our classifications. So unfortunately, we do have to use different terminology that we may not use in our regular language. And sometimes we have to include those terms within our search strategies. Things are getting better, things are changing. It takes time. I know the Library of Congress, they've established committees, an Indigenous committee that they're trying to go through and very carefully consider on how to change things so they make the right changes. So yeah, something to be aware of for sure.
Yeah, and maybe like a less controversial one is sexually transmitted diseases. is still the mesh, or when last I checked, versus sexually transmitted infections. So it's totally okay to search. And partly, National Library of Medicine doesn't just want to change things all the time. They really want to make conscious decisions. So definitely search the mesh, even if it's an outdated or inappropriate term, and you can include in your text word searching the more updated terms for sure.
Yeah. So our next poll question is, do you have a PubMed account? I know there, get Orby to. Okay, lots of no's. So you don't have to have a PubMed account, but it does give you the ability to do a few things that I think are fairly useful. If you don't have one, just click in the login and it will walk you through all the steps. They're free, and you can get set up with an account. Why would you want a PubMed account? So it allows you to create resource lists and collections and then keep those lists for the future. So if you start a search and you're building a collection and then you have to go off and do something else, you can have it all saved into your account so you don't have to start from scratch every time. Saving your searches, so that search string that you're developing right now, you can save that search into your account. It'll be there for you next time. And you can create alerts. So maybe you want to know when new things are published in that particular search. That's a topic of interest for you. You're doing research on it. You can have alerts sent to you. So when you log in, this is your dashboard, and there'll be a link to it in the upper right-hand corner, no matter what screen you are on in PubMed. You have your search box. And then you also have recent activity. So if you've done searching while you've been logged in, it will keep track of that. It'll save your searches. So that search string, you can have that saved in there, and collections. So all of the good stuff that you've found, you can kind of store all of those citations in one place so that you can go back to them later. How do you create a collection? So you've done your search. We've got 31 results here. We're gonna scroll through. You're gonna select all the ones that you want. So if there's 100, you just keep scrolling and you keep choosing what you want. And then once you've finished that particular search, everything that you want from that search, then you're gonna go to send to. And then it's gonna give you some options. You're gonna choose collections out of that option. And then you can either create a new collection if it's a new topic, or you can add to an existing collection. If it's an existing collection, just choose from the drop-down menu which collection you want to add to, and then you click add, and it will add it, the citations that you've selected into that collection. So now they're all right in here. Now, if you want to share that list of resources with a colleague, you have a couple options. So you can share a URL with them. And the way you can do that is you can go to the settings for that particular collection, and it's going to give you some options. If you make your collection public, it will give you a URL, and you can only get to the collection if you have this particular URL. But if you add new things to it or you take things away, your colleague will be able to see the most current updated list of that particular collection, and then click save. And then you can just send this URL out to your colleagues, and they can see that list. Another way that you can share is if you just want to share a list of articles. So for that, you would just go to the title of the collection. Click on that. It'll give you all the results in that list. And then you're going to go to email. And then it will give you, again, more options. I always recommend sending the list to yourself first and then forwarding it on so that people know that it's coming from you for sure. And then you can select a summary and abstract in the drop-down menu here, and then click send email. And what it will do is it will send you an email that looks like this, and it has the article information with the links in it. So if you come up against paywalls, this is another way that you can send us the citation information. So you could email the list to yourself and then say 5 and number 8 and number 11 in your list, you hit paywalls. So just forward the email to us, tell us that those are the articles that you want the full text of, and then we can send you the full text. So that's a quick way to get the article information to us. So then now that you've created your search string, how do you save that search so that you can go back to it quickly next time? So pop it in to PubMed, click search, then you're going to go to the option create alert here at the top. And when you click that, it's going to give you some more options to save that search. So you can change the name. Here's our search string right here. So if you ever want to edit it, it's right here. If you want updates, so you want to have an email with the newest things that are published under that search, you can click yes, and then you'll get emails. So you can choose the frequency of when you get those emails, what day. You can, the maximum is 200. We recommend you select that just to make sure that it sends everything. And then click save. And then you have your search is now up here in your saved searches list, and you can always get back to that. So when you add a new one, it'll always end up at the top of the list. And then if you ever need to edit it, edit that search string, say you've set up that alert and it's not working quite right, you can always go back in and edit it at any time by clicking on that little gear. And if you have a ton of searches, then this managed saved searches just gets you to the complete list of everything that you have in your account. One other way that you can quickly find, yeah.
I'll just mention, like, that is so helpful to know all those details. And if people are feeling like super overwhelmed, I'll just repeat what Gail said at the beginning. You can search PubMed without creating one of those accounts. You don't need to do any of those things. But if any of that sounded, and we can also, if you've got a favorite, if we've done a search for you, you've got a favorite topic, we can also set up those automatic searches for you so that you're always getting the updates about when there's new research about bed bug eradication or whatever your favorite or least favorite topics are.
Yes.
I might also just mention, I love to sign into my account, and I have made it, you can also then change how your results display. So I make it highlight my search terms so I can just more quickly find them. I make it automatically display abstracts and 200 results per page. And it just saves me so much fussing around and makes it display just how I like it. So that's another feature that's available if you have an account.
Right. Yeah. So then the single citation matcher is also something that's really useful if, say, you just have an author that you want to find articles on. So if you go back to this main PubMed search page, it's right here on the bottom, single citation matcher. Click on it, and it gives you some different options for how you can search. We've just popped Orvi in here, looking for articles that she's author on for 2019, and then click search. And then it gives us a nice little manageable list. So that's another way that you can quickly find articles in PubMed. I'll pass it back over to Orvi to do critical appraisal.
Yeah, we'll bring it home. So critical appraisal is about assessing the quality of the results that you found. So now we've done our searching and we found some recommendations about how to eradicate bed bugs. The next step is then to dive into those articles and assess what the quality is. And the National Collaborating Center for Methods and Tools recommends sort of the standard of, were the methods in the study used, were they good enough that I can be confident in the findings? So that's a good thing to keep in mind. If you've been to a MindNet education session before, you know that I, in particular, love these two really quick assessments. The CRAP test is an acronym again, and it just helps you go through and say, how current is this? How reliable is it? What's the authority? And what is the purpose and point of view? So even though PubMed is like the best starting place for evidence-based, peer-reviewed quality health information, there's still a lot of things that are in there that aren't reliable, or that might not be able to answer your questions in an authoritative way. Maybe they're too old, maybe they don't apply to your population, or whatever the case might be. So we do have, or you can go to the next slide there, Gail. We do have a session coming up in June, I think, or end of May, and we're talking about really in depth about critical appraisal. So if this is something that's of interest to you, definitely sign up and watch that one. And we'll also share the links. We'll share these slides, so then you'll have the links to these resources so you can go in deeper. The Critical Appraisal Skills Program out of the UK is also specific to types of articles. So depending on the level of what you're looking for might depend on how deep into critical appraisal you need to do. If you're creating a regional or a provincial policy, you're definitely going to want to familiarize yourself with these CAS resources that take you through, okay, this is a randomized controlled trial. Here's a checklist of how then you can appraise the authority of it or the rigor that was used for it. If you're just looking for some background information, probably then you don't need to worry about going into this level of detail. So lots of things to take into consideration. All right. Gail gave us the pre-warning too about how AI is being used in all kinds of health information. And so right now we're just, sometimes it can be really helpful at getting things out more quickly, but, and we've seen over the last year, like Gail mentioned, subject headings, when they started being assigned by AI, were not reliable. And it's evolving and it's getting smarter, and now in some cases is better than human indexers. So just be cautious at this point. If you notice if one day in the near future PubMed's talking about or giving you alerts about the way AI is being incorporated, or in whatever, or if you're using AI to help you with your writing, that it's not misinterpreting or mis-summarizing, because all kinds of AI are still making up a lot of things, and they're not necessarily pulling the correct information. So just be cautious if you're using it, and be cautious if the resources that you're using are also using it. All right, bringing us home here. And finally, just a reminder, if you found today, definitely go in and play around in PubMed. It's not that hard. You can just put in, like Gail did the very first search, PubMed, bed bugs, heat, and you get 45 results, and then just screen through, and you can play around with the filters, language or year or whatever you want. It's really easy to do that way. But like we mentioned, if you're finding that you're just not getting, there's too much to screen through, it's not what you're looking for, or you just don't have time to work on it, Gail and I are definitely here to do those searches for you, and definitely do not ever pay for articles. We will get them to you, and our team is super fast. So just a reminder about those. And then just in closing, we're available to answer any questions that you have immediately, but also you can reach out at any time. We're happy to answer your questions, and we're happy to help you incorporate high quality evidence into your health practices.